You to the Mayor's Affordability Roundtable meeting, our second meeting. It's March 25th, 2024. Call to order. I will start the meeting at 6:10 p.m. Before we get started, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest based on the agenda in front of you? Okay, seeing none. There are no declarations of pecuniary interest. Approval of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda? Any concerns, any additions? Can I get a motion to accept, Sarita? And seconder? You got that? I don't have everybody's names all memorized yet. Okay. And that is passed. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? Okay, so before we go into that, I'm just going to explain that in the approval of the minutes, it states that we're sending a motion forward to council meeting, which is tomorrow, March 26th. How that works for people, if you're following along tomorrow, the agenda or the minutes for all of our meetings, all of our committees, advisory boards go on the minutes for council to read. What we need to do is someone needs to pull the minutes for our Affordability Roundtable meeting and make sure that we direct council on the motion that we had to not investigate, that sounds like it was doing something bad, to look into Earth Solutions and looking at the future contracts and any other options that we could look at. So I will be doing that tomorrow. Mayor Martin is chairing the meeting, so I will be doing it from the floor. So just wanted to let you know that that will be brought forth to council tomorrow. Our first motion to council tomorrow. So follow along at home. So could I get an approval of the minutes? George, and a seconder? Nicole. Okay, thank you. Okay, the agenda has been approved, the minutes have been approved, and now we will start with our first deputation. I'd like to welcome Mr. Sam Bunting. And Sam, there's a microphone there, and you've probably done this before. There's a little button there. You got red? Okay. So you've got, usually it's 5 minutes at council, but for the Mayor's Affordability Roundtable, you have up to 10 minutes to share your story and your ideas with us. And after that, we give you the hook.
All right. Very generous. I don't know if I'll take that long, but maybe we'll have a little bit of dialogue at the end. I'd first of all like to say thank you to Mayor Martin and council. What an opportunity. I feel humbled and appreciative that I can come forward to share ways that I would like to see, or activities in kind that Norfolk County could provide myself, my family, my community. So thank you very much. And thank you for the council members volunteering your time. I actually strongly considered joining the council. Unfortunately, I don't have as much time as I'd like, but I applaud you for volunteering. So my suggestion, I have a cottage in Turkey Point, and I've spent some time there over the last couple of years, and I'm always at my cottage wondering what to do. And recently I went up to Meaford on a bachelor's trip, and we went to this community center. I believe it was Tomahawk. It was a community center where they had soccer fields. They had, I want to say, like 6 or 8 pickleball courts, and they had this really cool miniature golf course. And when I say miniature golf course, the holes on average were about, I want to say 60 to 120 yards. Very small. I'm a very healthy, active person. I grew up playing golf. The average golf hole is anywhere from 170 yards to 500 yards. So when I say 60 yards to 120, is very small. It's geared towards young families that are any age, really, like 5 to 12. I mean, I enjoyed playing the golf course with a bunch. It was a bachelor's party, so we had a heck of a time out there. But I thought, wow, what an opportunity that I could potentially take my family and enjoy this sport with my own kids that are currently 7 and 9. But maybe what was special about that course was it was made to be more permanent, where there was less maintenance required. So the tees were essentially a turf, and it was essentially like when you hit down, you're not taking divots. There's not a lot of grass, to be replaced and maintenance to take care of. Maybe there's a little bit of maintenance around the greens and the holes, but essentially what they were offering was kids play for free, parents pay $20, and essentially I think that was open to them for the entire day as long as they wanted to play. One thing I did notice from being there initially, the pickleball courts were packed. There was a sign-up sheet, and it was full, and it was rotating like clockwork, and there was people waiting, and they were heavily used. I'm sure we're all aware that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in North America, excuse me. You can be any age to play it, and I know most of our seniors can play it, and they love playing it. So I would say Norfolk County has maybe a little bit more seniors than average communities. What a great opportunity to put pickleball courts in every town in Norfolk County. So that's something I would suggest. I mentioned an avid ball golfer, but I'm also an avid disc golfer. I often travel to Brantford to play Mohawk Park. I travel to Caledonia to play La Fortune Park. I travel with my family to play at Jarvis, the Lions little disc golf park there. It's really short, great for my kids. We often love it. We're outside. We're spending time in the sun, and we're being active. So I'm always looking for ways to be active with my family. That's one of them. And let's face it, we already have a lot of great trails for walking on. For myself, I like to be a little bit more engaged and active. So I would highly suggest something related to disc golfing in Norfolk County. I'm not sure where. Initially, I said Turkey Point. I know there's the Turkey Point provincial lands where the old golf course used to be. Maybe there's an opportunity to work something out with I'm pretty sure the province owns it, but that might be a nice piece of property. I'm sure you have to face the tick infestation problem in Turkey Point. So that's one hurdle you'd have to think about. Yeah, beyond that, I think those were really the main points I want to talk about. Again, thank you for letting me share, and thank you for your time.
Great, thank you, Sam. So stay there, because I know I have some questions for you. So we'll take questions from the floor first. Does anyone have any questions regarding the deputation? Mayor Martin?
Thank you, Chair Huffman. Thanks, Sam, for coming. So if the Mayor's Affordability Roundtable was to endorse more recreational activities for council to give consideration to, fill me in a little bit on how disc golf works. Is that something that you and your family carry the supplies for, and then you would just come and use the municipal assets? You're not renting? I don't know.
Great question. Honestly, great question. So any family can go online to Amazon and order a set of 3 discs for $30. It's a very inexpensive sport to play. They are specific discs. It's not like a Frisbee you'd take to a beach. I mean, you can play with a Frisbee you'd take to a beach, but the discs are smaller, a little bit heavier, and they fly. They do different things. You'd have to learn more about it. So yes, that is something that we purchase, and we essentially go to a park where they set up a tee, a place where you throw from. And essentially, in Jarvis, for example, there's just a 6x6 pressure-treated post with a very modest sign that shows where you throw to. And then at the end of the hole, there's a basket. So it's a galvanized steel basket that can weather through the winter, through rain. My understanding is that Jarvis Disc Golf Park, it was a 9-hole park, and it cost less than $15,000 to set up. So fairly inexpensive. They set it up in an area where they were already cutting the grass. So essentially, there's almost no maintenance other than just cutting the grass where people are going to walk.
And you're not booking that, are you? Is
No.
it first come, first serve?
Well, the beauty is, it is first come, first serve. You essentially you show up, and it's based on an honor system. So if I show up at the same time as the next family, hey, you go first, and we'll follow you. Or if you're too slow, I'm holding up other families behind us. Hey, play through. We'll sit this hole out.
Cool. And then fill me in about pickleball so I know all about it, because I cannot open my inbox weekly without hearing about pickleball in Norfolk County. So same rules apply. You buy your paddles and use the asset, or in your experience, have you
I mean, to be honest, I've never played pickleball. It's probably one of those things I'll get into as I get older. But to my understanding, you would bring your own equipment, your own balls, your own racket, similar to tennis. It's just, I don't know if the courts are built the same. Maybe it's a little bit softer on the feet, but there's a lot less running. The ball's less bouncy, so it's much more manageable for the elderly crowd.
Okay, cool. So I guess if I were to summarize, your request is for us to take a look at some community amenities that offer free or reasonably priced recreation for families.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Oh, if I may add,
Go ahead.
something I wanted to share. So myself being a business owner in Norfolk County, I think there's a great opportunity to maybe showcase some of these in-kind, ideas. Like, for example, the Waterford Skate Park. I know I've helped donate to that over the years. I know they've been working towards that skate park for, I want to say it's been a long time. And, I know there are businesses, I feel like there are businesses in Norfolk County that would donate if, I guess, maybe we had the opportunity, maybe the awareness. I'm not sure if there's an opportunity to put something on a website where businesses can go in, hey, I've yearly set aside a budget for philanthropy and donations. So what better place than to put it back into my community? So that's something I'd love to see.
If I may, Madam Chair, that's a great point.
Yep,
And I
go
think
ahead.
as we dig into this a little bit more, I think like the meat and the potatoes of the Mayor's Affordability Roundtable will come out of our next two meetings, one being development and the other one being community partnerships. So if there is anyone in the community that's thinking about contributing, just like you've mentioned, register, book a deputation, come to the committee and chat with us. And then I think we can discuss how we advertise and put that out, because you're right, there's a lot of community members who are willing to roll up their sleeves and get to work and participate, and how we funnel that through is going to be really imperative and help us bring better and different amenities forward. So I look forward to digging into that one.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I'm a part of it.
Okay. And go ahead.
I just wanted to add to the whole pickleball thing, because there's already a little bit of a discord in the community right now with the Simcoe Recreation Center being used as a pickleball court and not as an arena anymore. So I feel like to find a balance for that, like how are we able to use the amenities that we already have without taking away? Because people are very upset that that arena was taken away. It's no longer an arena and it's a pickleball court. And then I live in Delhi, and the elderly are coming over, and they're, I don't want to say taking over, but they don't have enough spaces to play a sport that they actually enjoy, so they're using basketball courts, and they're using parking lots, which can't be safe, and they're not doing well with some of the younger people that want to play basketball. So it would just be interesting to see how we can find a way to establish a place for them to be able to do something like that, as well as not taking away further from that arena, because I know that's a big point of contention within the community right now. But if there's any other amenities that are available.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a couple questions for you. Oh, sorry, George, I didn't see
Could
your
I
hand. Go
comment
ahead.
on that?
Yeah, sure, go ahead,
Just
Sam.
based on my own experience, like having a family, what I'm hearing in the community, I'm hearing that arenas are highly sought after. I'm hearing that teams are actually having to go out of Norfolk County to rent ice. So that is a big concern for families. I mean, obviously the demand is there. Yeah, especially as we grow. And I mean, not only that, the demand is clearly there for seniors as well. So it's, that's why it's such a timely, to have a council like this. There is need, and, I guess seniors may be paying more than families, or there may be more seniors than families here that are paying their fair share. So why shouldn't they get the opportunity for their own amenities and their own recreational time?
Thanks. George?
Thanks, Sam. That's great. Long time we haven't chatted. How's your
Yes.
family? Good?
Family life is great. Thank you, George.
Great to hear. Great to hear. I was digging in there and finding out that, of course, I guess it's Tilbury, right? Is in the
Yes.
Blue Mountain area.
Yes.
Or catchment, let's
Yep.
call it, because it's not at Blue Mountain. It's more off to the side. And I noticed that back when they first opened, it was $8 to play.
Okay.
And then it went to $20 eventually, over the years. And I found the pricing incredibly affordable for anything. Now, when Turkey Point was open, the beauty of Turkey Point was it was almost like this. It was an executive course. Mm-hmm. And then the province decided to shut it down by letting it grow. And I actually got on the list to get emails about, like, what are they going to do with it? And I've never received another response after the initial one.
Right.
So I'm not surprised completely, because that's the way things go. But they definitely haven't done anything to it. So yeah, that property sits there, and that's provincial land, as you so well pointed out. And I think if anything was going to go down in that area, that's good trading land for me, in the sense of that kind of a thing. I did. We used to call those pitch and putts.
Yeah,
Right? It was a
essentially.
pitch and putt. All you took was your pitching wedge and your putter, and you're in, pretty much. And they're a lot of fun. I like the idea of low cost and to be incredibly affordable. As far as the other stuff, I noticed in that same complex, that's where you mentioned there was the soccer pitches, and there was the pickleball, and these are ways. The only thing we have to, and of course the council would have to think about, and we will too a little bit, is the maintenance fee. Because even if we get somebody to, and the liability, and
Yep.
how is it managed in that way? It may be a little different in Tilbury, but maybe it's not as much as I might think. But definitely, that's always going to hang over the edge. It's keeping it in good shape, and how much is
Absolutely.
that? Being all outdoor activities, also the limited use that off season, right? So let's say 6 months if you're lucky, unless you live there this year.
Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
we both know Turkey Point is
Yeah.
limited use as well.
Yeah.
It's flooded in the summer,
Yeah, it's
and
got
then
it.
it's a ghost town in the winter. So
But it's good uptown, like up the hill where that property is. That doesn't have a problem. That doesn't.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
be interesting to see. Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing this to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for the deputation? Okay, I'm going to ask a couple questions. The disc golf.
Yeah.
The one in Jarvis is the one I'm most familiar with, and I do know that it was the Lions, I believe.
The Lions
who
that
took
donated.
that on. And the
Yes.
Jarvis Lions Club, if anyone is listening now or going to be listening, they are, hats off to them. They do a phenomenal job in their
Definitely.
community. So my question is, I haven't had a chance to visit it or play it, but what is the actual space that's required for disc golf?
Okay, so to, I guess, give it to you. So typically the average hole in disc golf can be anywhere from, like, I want to say maybe 100 to 300 feet. The average hole, like at Jarvis, the average hole is around 100 to 150 feet, maybe 200 at the most. So it doesn't require a huge area. Yeah.
And their location is where the ball diamonds are, it's over on this side.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it not?
it's like
Yeah.
the back corner of the ball diamond area, and it kind of goes just around near the property line, and then
Okay.
through.
And just to be clear, there's no fee that's charged for this?
no, there's no
It's
fee.
just first come, first serve, and
Yeah.
you go through? Okay.
Yeah,
That's really
absolutely.
good to know. And I just wanted to follow up with, when you were talking about the Tomahawk Sports Park, is that what you were saying, George, that it's in Tilbury? Okay, so I wanted to do some more research on that, so I wanted to get that. Now, when you said about space for the disc golf, I don't know if it would be large enough. Right away, I went to the green space by the ponds there in Waterford, near the retirement home. There's a large green space there, but I don't think it's big enough, but it would probably be big enough for the idea that you had about the mini golf. I like that idea. So
me
that's neat. So children play for free, and it's $20 per couple or just per
adult.
Okay,
Per
so
adult.
if you've got two adults, you're $40 in, and then your kids are free.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. And I'm just trying to think if I had any. Okay, now pickleball courts. I know it's funny. I love how you kept saying the elderly or the older people, because my younger sister is really into pickleball right now. So I hope
love
she's
it.
listening to this right now.
That's great. She
But
hates
anyhow-
me, but that's okay.
I do know that she partakes at the rec center, at the senior center quite frequently, and absolutely
Nice.
loves it. So are there any, what I would like to find out, do you know off the top of your head if there are any other pickleball spaces in Norfolk County? And what I was wondering, Mayor Martin, is if we could maybe put forth a motion, a direction to staff to let us know if there's any other places in Norfolk County and ones that would be available to be made into a pickleball court. Do you know of any, Sam, off the top of your head?
To my knowledge, the Dover Coast community
Okay.
has some.
Okay, I thought there was something in Dover. I knew that there was, I remember something coming forward to us one time, but I couldn't remember where it was. So, okay. All right, I think that is it for me. Anybody else? Final call? Any questions? No? Anyways, thank you so much, Sam. I appreciate your time and your lifestyle. I'm envious. It sounds like you're very energetic. I need to pick up my game here.
Thank you.
So anyways, all right. Oh, one question? Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, because I just pulled it up off of the county website, there are a few outdoor courts for pickleball in Norfolk that have the specific lines drawn. However, it doesn't show anything for indoor except for the rec center. So it shows that there's in Cortland, Langton, Port Rowan, Simcoe has 2 locations, and then Victoria and Waterford.
Very good.
Perfect. We don't have to send a motion forward to staff. Thank you very much for doing that. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great night. Okay, bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so with that, could I get a motion to accept the deputation as presented? Mayor Martin and a seconder? Sarita. Okay. Now, I'm going to backtrack just a second. I just wanted to mention and welcome our CAO, Mr. Al Meneses, who is here tonight, and Tom Michelli, Councillor for Ward 1, and Chris Van Passen, Councillor for Ward 4. So we certainly appreciate you being here and watching us try and get this off the ground. So thank you very much for your support. I'm receiving. Oh, I was going to do that. And then okay. All right. I did get that. I just did that. You and Sarita did that. Okay. And go ahead, Mayor Martin.
Okay, thanks, Madam Chair. So I guess to clean that up, I like the idea of what Sam's presenting. I would really like the idea if we had a partner coming forward offering to help us with it. But that's not to say that won't happen in a couple more months' time. So I'd be happy to put a motion on the floor that's just as simply for council to consider that staff look into investigating options and locations, including locations that we don't own, for the possible installation of outdoor recreation that provides free or low-cost services to the community. So that would be, things like tennis, pickleball, disc golf, and so on. I know that Norfolk County actually has some of the most amount of pickle courts that I remember Bill Cridlin came to budget with a sheet of them. They're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. But so that's fine. We can investigate it and quantify it and produce it so that the public knows where they are and how to access them. But having staff give consideration to low cost to no cost recreation amenities. And then hopefully we get some partnership opportunities coming forward from there.
Okay, so that's your motion that you've got on the floor? That's what I was just gonna ask Marie if she got that. Did you get a version of that? Okay, good. And can I have a seconder? George? Okay. And all in favor? And that is carried. Okay, the next item on our agenda is kind of, going along the lines of our deputation, but it's reports and discussion items. So the, did you just change that on me? Okay, sorry. Just a minute, sorry. Okay, so reports and discussion items. Our topic for this evening was in-kind services that Norfolk County could partake in. So at this point in time, I'd just like to open up the floor, and please raise your hand if you had an opportunity to come up with some ideas, or any idea is a good idea, so don't be afraid to share. And Mayor Martin, did you want to kick us off, or?
Nobody else has something they want to jump at? I really want to revisit a couple things that we talked about on a high level from that document that we discussed last week. So for me, I think I've talked to a few of you, and I know you have some ideas in the hopper. But for me, I want to dig into some development and housing related elements of what the county offers. So the one may be associated with a cost, but I'll put it forward. If the committee believes in it, council can debate it. One of the things that we did earlier, or I suppose later last year, was a permit night at Norfolk County Robinson Administration Building, where our staff hosted a session for the public to come in, find out information on it was specific to, I believe, pools and decks, and they could leave the same night with a complete permit. It was something that we had trialed that was new. It was very well attended, and I think there are a lot of barriers to development, even if it's just beautification of your home or adding amenities to your home. So I would like to start the discussion with you all and then table a motion about having staff investigate other ways in the development sector that they can make our services a little bit more concise and available to the public in a similar format, in a similar come in, find out the information you need, and leave with it. I don't want to restrict it to just building pools and decks or gazebos, whatever it is. Staff might have more ideas. So that would be my first option, and then I have two more that I'd like to talk about if anyone else wants to drive some conversation on that. If not, I'm happy to move it as a motion.
Okay, is there any other conversation regarding what Mayor Martin has brought forward? Sarita, go ahead.
I'd love for one of those nights if you're going to do it again. the topic be ADUs, accessory dwelling units, because I think it's great that we allow those, but the information online can be overwhelming. It would be nice if, people could come and have all the information, the experts, county staff, they're helping them kind of through it. Is that an option?
All right, would you like to, okay, George, go ahead.
Yeah, I was also thinking if you actually, and there's nothing, if you can't do something once, you do it twice. If you had, for residents, obviously they'd be interested in the decks and the pools and all that stuff. But separately from organizations who operate and own their own property or have ideas of owning their own property, the steps they would go through, and usually some of them would have consultants, but many times it's just volunteers. Like I'm thinking Lions clubs, Rotary clubs, service clubs, and their needs when it comes to trying to get permits and even considering, like at the consideration, at the one meeting of doing something bigger than they normally do. That is the education piece that organizations don't usually have. If there was an education piece, then they'd know right from them. There are probably seeds out there right now of people thinking about it. It's just a matter of saying, now you give them another tool to go ahead with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So you've got a motion on the floor, Mayor Martin?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. I suppose the motion would read that staff be investigated to give consideration to hosting other permit nights and information sessions. And I would be happy for staff to drive some of the subject, but it should also include decks, pools, gazebos, organizations who own their own properties, so kind of a planning 101 maybe to get a new project started, and accessory dwelling units should certainly be included, but I'm open to other staff suggestions.
Okay. Sarita, were you going to second that, or you had anything to add?
Can I just add one more thing?
Sure.
Because I think people want information about this as well, and I don't know if it would necessarily be a permit night. Pardon me, I have an itchy throat tonight, sorry. The ways around severing a piece of property. I think that should be a topic. I don't know what I'm wading into by saying that, but it should be a topic if we're taking votes on topics.
Actually, it is in the chart that we drafted, so maybe we can keep it separate and go to that later just to keep it organized, but yes, great point.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Is there a seconder? Nicole? And all those in any other further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? And that is carried.
If I may, my second
Go
one
ahead.
leads right into Sarita's first comment. So accessory dwelling units, we spoke last month about what if there was a pilot project that the county initiated. This one does come with a fee associated with it, so we'll see if council's interested or not, if the committee is. But what if we looked at a community like a particular development in close proximity to Fanshawe College, and we set a specific dollar value that council would permit spending to subsidize or float entirely a permit for accessory dwelling units in their basement. So we know that accessory dwelling units as a right are already permitted by the province, so there's no hurdle there, but there are fees associated with getting the permit and starting that process. And so the reason why I raise it about one being in a specific area and two being around Fanshawe College is because maybe our staff could develop a plan as a pilot project if there was a home within 5 kilometers of the post-secondary education and they met a certain criteria, they could receive either a subsidized or waived permit fee to put an accessory dwelling unit in their home. And for the next 4 years, it needed to be used as a rental unit for an out-of-county person and or student. And the reason why I say Fanshawe College is because that is going to help with the job market and bringing in community members to Norfolk. But if it's an out of county individual, it's still meeting the rental market needs and creating more rental stock. So staff could develop a plan. There's pros and cons that I probably have not given consideration to, but they could look into X number of permits equals X number of dollars, and within 5-kilometer radius, if you meet the criteria, you can have your permit fee subsidized or waived to put an accessory dwelling unit in your basement that must be rented to an out-of-town resident for the next 4 years. That would be my suggestion.
Go ahead.
Can I just ask a question on, so how would it work in terms of monitoring that to ensure that the homeowner to get that subsidized fee? Sorry if I'm asking a redundant question, I just don't know the process of how, like what county staff that would be to monitor the homeowner to ensure that they're renting to an out-of-county individual. What's that process like?
Mayor Martin, did you have an answer for that one?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be identified in a staff report later, but as an example, if it's focused on Fanshawe College students, that can be a partnership where Fanshawe College is taking on all that administrative work and then reporting back to the county. They do that now by facilitating housing options. Obviously, there could be a lot of a gap there. There could be something associated with a property tax bill when they pay their property tax that they're checking a box or including information that's relevant, but that would be something that staff could look into. I don't know yet.
That was what I was going to say, is that I think we could probably do something through the tax bill to make sure that people are staying compliant with their commitment for the 4-year piece. Is there anything else regarding that? Oh, sorry, I didn't look over here. I apologize. I haven't chaired in a long time. I was just thinking, I haven't chaired since like 2018. It's been a long time. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. So I just have a question about that, because we typically see at about 5 years from the real estate perspective that people they're no longer long-term investments into their home. It's typically pretty short and quick turnover. So it's about 5 years on average right now. So if you were to have something like that with the pilot program, which I think is a fantastic idea, but just to be able to subsidize some of that cost back if someone was to sell, there's first-time home buyer projects. I know Norfolk has one. I'm more familiar with the one in Brantford just because I feel like Brantford advertises it a little bit more than what we do. But what it is that if someone was to sell their home, I think in Brantford they have to be in the home for 20 years, and then they get that part of the down payment. Is that something that would be applicable? Is that if they were to receive the permit at a reduced no cost, and then they were to sell within that time frame, that they would have to pay back that permit cost and or a penalty on top of interest that you guys would be holding on that?
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I think that's a great incentive. I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of that program, and I would want to avoid an exchange of funds back and forth from the municipality to the individual and so on. So I kind of like the idea of waived but something that we can look into from a legal perspective. And I think if there are more checks and balances where we can protect the public tax dollar and make sure that they're following through on it, then yeah, we do it. I think if staff can, take a look at that as well, they can rewatch the video and see, what discussions are happening here and wrap all of that into a staff report. It's smart.
Thank you. Would it be okay if I asked a question of Nicole? Everyone all right with that? Now, you were saying that Brantford has a first-time homeowner program, the actual city of Brantford?
Yes, and Sarita actually will be able to help assist with this as
Go ahead.
well.
Not for Brantford.
Not for Brantford, but she's more versed on the Norfolk County one, and so they help with it's tricky because they help with the deposit and the down payment of a first-time home buyer's purchase up to a certain amount, and they have to have a home inspection that passes through the city, which oftentimes does not happen. It can be very difficult for the program to work, but when it does work, it's fantastic. But Sarita would be able to give a little bit more information about the way that Norfolk County runs it.
Okay. Would you like to add anything, Sarita? I'd be very interested. I hate to say I was not aware that we had anything like this.
It's to make housing affordable. It's done through it's Norfolk County Housing. Where is it? Where they Yes. Yes. But it's hard to get people to qualify for it, to be quite honest. They only raised the total purchase price within the last couple of years. It used to be in the 300s. As you know, when we went through that hike in the market, nothing was selling here for that. Now the purchase price is in the 6s, but you can't make over, I think it's just over $100,000 in household income, so nobody qualifies for it. So
And your credit has to be like impeccable, and the house has to pass.
yeah, there's some, I don't necessarily know if that is this conversation, but it is definitely difficult to get people to qualify for that grant or that program.
Well, I was just going to say, to get a $600,000 house on a combined income of
Exactly, you don't
100,000 is
qualify.
virtually
You don't-
impossible.
You literally don't qualify, and then the amount that you do qualify for, you can't find a house for that purchase price. So the math ain't mathing. It's a very technical term, but it doesn't work.
Health and social
Yes,
services?
Health and social services. Yes,
Okay.
that's where it's from.
Oh, yes. Sarita, would you like to put a motion forward? Nicole, whoever, one
That we
can
could get
put it on the
that-
floor, one can second it.
Can we get a motion to have a look at that calculation so that more people have access to those funds? Is that a thing? Can we do that?
Let's do it, Sarita.
We're doing that. That's what we're doing. Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Got you.
Okay, did we get that captured? We did. Okay. Yes, we do. We need a seconder. Nicole, would you like to second that? Any further discussion regarding that motion? Go ahead, Sarita.
As long as you use the quote, "The math ain't mathin'," I'm happy.
We got to make it official. All right, Mayor Martin?
Just some context. So I found some information online, but it's first-time home buyers must be at least 18 years old with a combined gross household income of $101,000 or less, and the purchase price in the home must not exceed $626,931.
Ridiculous.
All right. So that motion is on the floor. We have a motion. We have a seconder. We've had discussion. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, does anyone, Mayor Martin?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
that's okay. I just am hoping we can finish up with my motion and then I do have one more after that, and then I'll stop. Accessory dwelling units, pilot project, and so on. We just need to formalize that.
Okay, has that been captured at all? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a seconder? George, any discussion regarding that motion? George, go ahead.
Just to be clear, we've mentioned basements a lot, but it's really any accessory dwelling unit that qualifies, right? Okay, thank you.
All right, all those in favor? And that is carried. All right, Mayor Martin, did you have another one
I
to
have
add?
one more, and then
Okay,
I'll
no problem.
move along. The last one is actually part of the Municipal Information Network. I got an email, and it had me thinking about truly in-kind services. So I think we've kind of wrapped it up in the first one, but I wanted to raise it. I don't know if it needs to be a specific motion, but the city of Winnipeg gave development permit exemptions to 25 construction projects and activities. And I don't know if this is even counterintuitive to the Affordability Roundtable, to be entirely honest, but I just came across it today and I wanted to raise it here because it begs the bigger question. If we waive development and permit fees in some cases on items like pergolas, gazebos, or similar structures, garages detached from single and two-family dwellings, play structures, and in-ground or above-ground private swimming pools or hot tubs, should the taxpayer be subsidizing items like that? However, it's also spinning off into a bit of economic development and people investing in their properties, which then raises the assessment value of their properties. So I didn't wrap it into that first motion of having staff look at permits and items and information sessions, but I did want to raise it with you because, like I said, I just came across it today. The City of Winnipeg, 25 exemptions to kind of get stuff rolling. So this could happen one of two ways. Either it's exempt and our staff are spending the time on it in kind, or the dollar value that they would have, the individual would have paid for those permits will need to be made up by a reserve fund transfer, meaning that the taxpayers are then subsidizing these types of items. So I'm not entirely sure that that's something we want to go down, but there could be more meat on the bones there to have staff look at something. So I raise it, it's not a motion, I just would be open to any comments while we're on the development subject.
Okay, any discussion on that? Any questions? Sarita, go ahead.
I feel like if it came across that the taxpayers in any way were subsidizing people putting in pools and hot tubs, I don't know how well that would go over.
I feel like it would go over very classist.
Mayor Martin?
I don't disagree with that entirely. I don't think that Norfolk's in the position to put that burden on people, but what I'm suggesting is that there might be something in the legislation that Norfolk County could pare down on our application process. And these types of things could be done online where there is less of a cost, less of a staff burden. I'm not sure. So I guess it's, maybe I could word it better by presenting it as a review of our services to see what we could be reducing some red tape on these smaller items. I agree. We don't want to get into the subsidy, but is there a way that we can do it better? Should our staff be looking into that on these items where there's, little to no impact to neighbors and so on?
How much red tape?
Sarita, go ahead.
Sorry, I just went ahead. How much red tape is there for, like, say you want to put in a gazebo or a pool? Like, has anybody here been through that process?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I do know that, and I'm probably an anomaly. I follow Norfolk County on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, everything. So I know that today there was a comms press release that there is a shed and gazebo information night coming up. So, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought that you had to get a permit to put a gazebo up. I apologize for that. That's very bad of me. But I wouldn't have thought of that. I guess a large shed, that type of thing, I would have realized that you would need a permit for, but I wouldn't have thought to build a gazebo in your backyard. You needed one. So, all right, go ahead, Nicole.
When you say that you would like to kind of change it to more online, is there help within Norfolk County's office if, say, a senior was to come in or someone that didn't have the ability to read online, that they could come into the office to kind of either make an appointment or a walk-in period where they could get that help for that application?
Yes, we do have those services available for individuals. So that is a real catch-22 in this area because in a lot of larger municipalities, everything, it tends to be online, whereas with Norfolk County, with the ruralness and the lack of connectivity at times for some individuals, and with our aging population, it doesn't always make online services the most user-friendly for individuals. So go ahead, Nicole.
So to expand on that, then, would an in-kind service be to have, like Groundswell would have been a really good one. Is there a way that we could have an in-kind service from businesses? Again, this kind of goes into the partnership, but partnering with some of the businesses in the downtown core that could open up, like I know my office could very likely open up a station that we could help them do that, that's not breaching any sort of confidentiality, where we could help people with those applications. We could help have an in-person session for people if they needed it held within our office buildings.
All right, thank you. Mayor Martin, did you have anything else to add? If not, I've got a couple that I wanted to float before asking the floor if there's anything that anyone came prepared with tonight for any in-kind services through Norfolk County. No? Okay. I'm going to switch gears a little bit from the housing and structures and those types of things. In looking with the in-kind services, I think we have a great resource within our health unit for services that are free to individuals who are residents of Norfolk County. And just to kind of tag along with what I had just said in terms of access to internet and the social media piece, I have to remember that not everyone follows things like that as much as I would, or maybe the people around the table. And I would like to know, for example, we have our Healthy Babies program, we have our senior dental care, we have our 0 to 17 Healthy Smiles program, we have our water testing that we do. I believe we still do the smoking cessation, and I don't believe there's a cost related to that. There's quite a few things that our health unit offers. So what I would like to do is I would like to, if it's okay with everybody, I would like to put a motion on the floor that we ask staff what their uptake is of these services. Is there still room in these programs for individuals? Are we at capacity? Where could they handle 50 children in the Healthy Smiles program, but only 10 are partaking? What can we do to get the word out there and to get the best bang for our buck with the programs that are funded and are of no cost to residents? So go ahead, Nicole.
Sorry, I just have a quick question about that. When it comes to you said Healthy Smiles? Yes. Is that the one where the health unit comes to the schools and they do?
No, that's a separate one. There's a school screening, and there's a maintenance one. There's the school screening, and then the Healthy Smiles. The Healthy Smiles is the one that if individuals are needing scaling, cleaning, cavities filled, etc. And that one is on an income base, but it's very very reasonable to access. So I would like to put that motion on the floor. Did you capture that, Marie? Okay. It's amazing how good they are at capturing me blathering on. Would anyone like to second that motion? Sarita? And any discussion on that? Mayor Martin?
Thanks, Madam Chair. I would just maybe encourage staff to also look at hosting events in the same way that we would for planning. So if they're undersubscribed, then to get out in the community and host a comprehensive event for that particular water testing night, or if it's a healthy baby or fall prevention seminar, then host it where multiple people can attend, just so that we're ensuring community members know what free services there are, and our staff are spending their time, in a manner that's getting a good return on investment if it's an in-kind service.
Yes, thank you for adding that. I guess that was probably going to be the second part of once we get information from staff as to if we've got room for improvement, how then, so we'll bring it back to the Affordability Roundtable. I know we do have topics for each one, but we're obviously going to have discussion from our minutes and motions and things like that, and what we can do to get the word out there. So there's different things that we could do. There's things that I know that were done in the past that I don't think, not just Norfolk County as a corporation, but other places don't use anymore as much, like putting things in backpacks at school and all of that kind of stuff, because I think everybody's gone so much online. So we maybe need to relook at some things and getting the word out to all of the different populations that we have within Norfolk County and some of our more vulnerable populations, and making sure that these services are utilized to their fullest event. Okay, George, go ahead.
Not sure if I'm on topic, but another great resource that we have is our library system and the amount of services that they provide already, and maybe the same kind of analysis in cooperation. Obviously, they have a board, they have a budget, but they also have incredible reach that's already established, not just geographical, but also mental and all the great things that you can get out of a library. And I think while there's been a decrease in generations because of internet and stuff, I think this would be a great way to provide those additional in-kind services across the county. Thank you.
That's a great point. And as a member of the board of the library, I would be willing to take that forth to our next meeting and utilize and just mention, and Julie Kent is great with community partnerships. So that's really something that I'll be more than willing to bring forward at our library meeting on Wednesday. Sarita, go ahead.
Yeah, the things that you can get in the library now are mind-blowing. We did a tour with the kids' school, the tools that you can borrow, the Cricut machines, the sewing, the quilting. I don't think the community knows what's really available there. We're members of the library. We go to the library, our kids take out books, and we just think that that's what we got. So any kind of promotion or getting the word out of how the community can utilize the space that's already there, that's already open, that's already staffed.
That's a great point. Okay. So promotion of library. So would we just put that down as direction? Just direction that Councillor Huffman will bring forth to the library meeting on March 7th? Okay. All right. I just want to go back over my notes and make sure I'm not missing anything. I did have some other ideas, but actually they're more of a partnership type of thing. So I think I'll hang on to those ideas for when we come to our partnership night. And just a comment, just that I don't think we can ever underestimate the value of our service clubs in a community such as Norfolk County, that we have some really phenomenal service clubs and groups and things like that. So go ahead, George.
I agree, and I know, like, I was waiting, I've already been taking some notes. Quite some time ago, I sat on the Fee Assistance Community Roundtable, and we made a concise list of who these partners were, everything from kids sport, and you have to connect also with OW to find people that need the services, but also things like local service club, faith-based organizations, who all basically have reach into the community, and see if they'll come aboard and join in providing these. And I remember at the time it was to discuss in-kind services or free services, or help with sports fees at certain income levels. That was a different kind of a vibe, but it was covered quite a bit by that committee, which sat for 3 times. And it'd be interesting to see if some of that information that was collected at that time will flow into partnerships. And that's why I wasn't going to mention anything until 2 meetings from now.
All right. Mayor Martin, did you have anything? I thought I saw your hand. Okay, go ahead, Sarita.
This is something new. Is that okay? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I need a motion on the floor, and I had a seconder, and all those in favor. And that is carried. Sorry. Sarita, go ahead.
Okay, so kind of piggybacking off that a little bit, talking about facilities that we already have and staff that are already at those facilities. Over March break, there was a tour of the recycling plant, was there not? Maybe creating some kind of doors open Norfolk, where some municipal facilities are open to the public, kids and families, and they can get a view of what's going on inside, whether that be water treatment or recycling or the library like we just spoke about, or this wonderful building here with all the administrative staff, showing kids like what the community is built on, what facilities we have, just talking about and touring the buildings that we already have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. And I'm just wondering too.
Museums too, yes. Our museums.
Yeah, and that could kind of tag along with our community days that our staff have planned in the month of June.
Yeah.
I think some of those things are offered during that week.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do is Brandon Sloan and his team, the general manager of that, and his team are trying to get people to notice, partake, and see all of the different things.
Yeah.
So
the jobs that are
good
available,
idea.
and staff are already in those buildings. There would be hopefully no to none extra cost associated.
Well, and the other thing that goes to is I know that I've had conversations with our CAO individually and then as a whole with council, is that looking, years ago, it used to be that if, for individuals to get a job in the municipal sector was like a great thing to do, and people strive to get a municipal job. Then it's kind of fallen off the ledge a little bit, and what we want to do is, I know that we're trying to make sure that we promote Norfolk County, and we want to be the employer of choice, and we want to retain our youth, and so starting at the young age with individuals and getting them to see our services, and just even when Mayor Martin hosts school children in the chambers and that type of thing. So those are all things that kind of go full circle and hopefully keep some youth in our area, and hopefully municipal employees down the road. Go ahead, Mayor Martin.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, and if you're moving that as a motion, Sarita, I would second it, because I think it's two things. It's all of those things about, and it is funny what the kids say when I tell them, hey, do your parents work here, and have you ever considered working here? And so I think that's a really smart investment in our youth, to have them understand what happens at Norfolk County. But we're also in the line of work of being a very transparent industry. So, if it's safe to have them tour these facilities, and it must be because we've done it before, and I heard that the uptake was really good on the recycling tour, then we should do those types of things, because there are a lot of kids and families out there that can't afford to play recreation. And I know some of us wanted to get into recreation today, and I'm really excited to do that. But I think, if anyone's listening at home, that's the sponsorship and the partnership aspect of things. So let's bring that up when we have the partnership discussion, and see who we can help to get more kids playing and more seniors being able to afford an active lifestyle. But until then, I would, if that's a motion, I would support it. And I think staff could look at a comprehensive plan to opening up, recycling or water treatment or whatever it is, heck, 2-3 times a year, and invite the public along as we go.
Sarita, would you like to make that a motion?
Yes, I would actually like to make that a motion, that staff consider opening up the buildings multiple times a year, so that the community can tour through, and they can, show kind of what goes on behind the scenes. Yeah, make the math. All the motions tonight. Okay? That's a really
We'll get this in
sophisticated quote right there.
every motion that will be in.
Make the
All
math
right,
math.
do I have a seconder for that motion? Yeah, sorry, Kate, okay. And any discussion? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Nicole.
Sorry, I just want to say, I think it's a great idea to be able to do that, just because there is still always that stigma of the trades, where I think that it would also kind of breach some of that stigma, and it shows like you can still make a really good living, you can still work really hard without having to go to a 4-year university program. So I think that would be great to kind of show kids that there's more than just university in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and I think I just wanted to add, so we talked about the recycling and the water treatment, and our community yards would be a great place to open up and have, tour those, and the trucks and the snow plows and all of that type of thing that individuals can get into, and looking at the different opportunities for employment down the road. And for the younger kids, that kind of stuff is just totally cool, because whenever you have a touch a truck event, it's like mayhem.
So well attended.
Yeah, very well attended. Go ahead, Nicole.
It might also end up being like a twofold thing. You might have people that are coming that are like, you could also have not necessarily a job fair, but if there are any openings, you could kind of advertise that at the same time. So it would be a 2-for-1.
So we've had some discussion on that motion. All those in favor? And that is carried. Now, is there anything else that you had in regard to in-kind, Mayor Martin, that you wanted to add? Okay, does anybody else have anything? I have a couple things I just wanted, it's kind of, because I had said at the very beginning, we'd have kind of a flexible system here, so this isn't quite, what I wanted to know was if there were any questions on the package from last week, and if everyone's had an opportunity to review that package, and if there's any questions. Just wanted to bring that forth for discussion, and seeing nothing. We talked about when we ratify the minutes, and that the minutes are accurate, and that we send them to council, and what I'll be doing tomorrow at our council meeting. Oh, I do have one more motion. Sorry. I would like to put a motion on the floor that the Mayor's Affordability Roundtable direct recreation staff to look into the feasibility of reestablishing the Simcoe Skate Park. So, is there a seconder for that motion? Nicole, George, everybody there, pick your one. Any discussion on that? George, go ahead.
I think that's been one of the most mismanaged piece of recreation that we had. And I know the kids use it because I worked about 100 feet south of them every day, because it's an incredible draw, and that's why it was at the fairgrounds. And it made sense at the fairgrounds. And when they took it down, there was concepts in place and promises of how it was going to start. And that was 4 years ago, 4 years ago. I'm not going to put a date on it, but I'm happy to hear this motion. Thank you.
Great point. And so we've got a motion on the floor. We've got a seconder. We've had some discussion. All in favor? And that is carried. All right. Sorry, I went out a step there. I just noticed that I had jotted that down before I left home, and I forgot to add it. Other business. I just wanted to remind everybody, I know everyone gets nervous when you're asked to do this kind of thing, but we really want people to submit a short bio and a picture headshot so we can introduce you to the public and really tout the Mayor's Affordability Roundtable. So if you could get on that as soon as possible, that would be great. I know I cringe too when I think of that, but I'm sure everybody's got something going on that they can get that done. Okay. I think that is it. Is there anything else that anybody, I'm opening the floor at this point. If there's anything that anybody wanted to talk about, ask questions. No? Okay. George, go ahead.
Piece of information: a permit is required for an accessory building or structure attached or detached exceeding 10 square meters or 108 square feet. There's your gazebo. If it's too big, it needs a permit. Same with sheds.
Thank you very much. The world of online. See, answers are instantaneous. Mayor Martin?
Just a reminder that our next meeting, we will be back on a Tuesday evening, and it is the discussion around development in the community. So we will start at 5 p.m. instead of 6, because we're hoping that we have a list of members of the development community coming forward to chat with us. And I don't know about you guys, but it's my hope that they come forward with proposals, with concepts, with ideas, and with offers to partner that will make development a streamlined process, a more affordable process, and we can look at creating some actual affordable housing in our community with their help.
And Nicole, you had your hand up?
I was just actually wondering if Norfolk County's ever made someone take down a gazebo or a structure that they had put up, and if there's a fee attached to that as well.
I would think that that's probably happened. That where, well, yeah, that could be done where it would be noticed through MPAC or neighbors or something like that. So, but yeah, well, obviously it would be me, right? Because I didn't know that I need one over a certain size. So go ahead, Sarita.
Just to circle back on the home ownership program, the down payment assistance, did we actually put a motion through to get that math looked at? Yes. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so with that, could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Kate, right? Yep, I'm going to get it. Okay, and a seconder was Nicole. All those in favor? And this meeting is adjourned at 7:19 p.m. Thank you very much, everybody.